What's this? Another team up? I'm John Barry and welcome to my review of Avengers, Age of Ultron. So this is the second Avengers team up film. It's set, of course, after the events of Captain America's Winter Soldier, which is very important because S.H.I.E.L.D. is not really around anymore. One of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s agents, Maria Hill, is now working for the Avengers, kind of doing very similar to what she did before. The story is in contact with Nick Fury, as we find out later in the film. And just all that going on. So Bruce Banner and Tony Stark are investigating Loki's scepter, which they got back after raiding a Hydra base. And speaking of that raid of a Hydra base, or S.H.I.E.L.D. base, kind of a little bit of, was first day's S.H.I.E.L.D. base, but it's now definitely a Hydra base. So this Hydra base, it's shot in the beginning, reminds me very much of a scene from Captain America: The First Avenger, when Captain America is leading the assault against the last Hydra base that's around in World War II. It's while he's like doing a front assault by himself as a diversion, while the Howling Commanders come in from another direction more subtly, and then the main force of infantry is going to come in later. But other than that, the opening of the fight's kind of similar. You have Captain America riding a motorcycle into the front lines of the Hydra base. I'm just saying, I think they did that intentionally. But there they recover Loki's scepter, which Tony Stark asks so if it would be alright to, like 2 to 3 days for them to, basically do some research on this, on Loki's, scepter, spear, whatever you want to call it, and just to give it a once-over before Thor takes it back to Asgard. Well, what do they uncover? A highly sophisticated AI, and Tony is like, I can make Ultron now. And Banner's a bit more hesitant, but it goes along. And then, of course, you know what happens. The AI gets a directive, peace, it's world peace and all, and it's like, and eventually comes up with a decision that humans, no world peace with humans, and gets on a plan to destroy all of humanity. Though Ultron's initial plan seemed much more like to create the perfect being and inhabited it himself, I guess, it's hard to say, and then maybe destroy humanity or whatnot. I don't know. Seems like Ultron had a backup plan or two. And his first plan was not really understood. But this is a film that Vision is created very much by Ultron, but also by Tony and Thor to a certain extent. And it's kind of an interesting development, but we get a brand new hero who doesn't have, Ultron's homicidal glitches, as Tony called them. Basically they got the same directive, world peace. But there's a difference. Ultron is purely basically based off of the AI that was in the Mind Stone, I believe it was. I think it was the Mind Stone. The Mind Stone, which is also in Vision too. But it's actually the gem that protected the Mind Stone, and the Mind Stone itself. It's kind of confusing a little bit about what's what with that. But basically it's given a directive of war peace, and it goes to the extremes to carry it out. But Vision's basically AI directive is preserve life preserve life itself, So, well, yes, he could cause harm. His directive is basically kind of the same piece, but his Vision is given the AI directive also of preserving life as a whole, not just achieving peace, which I think is interesting. I've read online that people have discussed about the dangers of AI would be if it goes to the extreme to fulfill its objective, meaning it's given the objective of something as simple as make paper clips. And it starts eliminating anything that gets in its way from making paper clips. And that's like the dangers people are afraid of AI. Not the AI going rogue, by fulfilling its directive to the extreme where it starts causing harm in fulfilling it. And unnecessary harm, mind you, not just, I'm protecting my directive is to protect, and by protecting this thing, I have to destroy this thing. Not that kind of causing harm, but where your directive is just to make paper clips, but you end up massacring thousands of civilians because they're interfering with you making paper clips. Like, that's what experts are afraid of AI. They're not afraid of AI just going rogue at random. So that tells us this. If we ever develop sophisticated AI, we need to put in its directives fail-safes that basically tell it, okay, you're to do this, but don't do anything that don't do anything that does this kind of idea, if that makes sense. But Age of Ultron is very much a warning on AI. Not necessarily saying AI is bad, but be careful with the AI. Make sure the AI is good before you give it a directive that affects all mankind, humankind. A good way of looking at this is what Vision ends up being. Part Ultron, part Mind Stone, part Jarvis, which was Tony's original computerized butler assistant, all that, named after his father's butler, Jarvis. And suffice to say is Jarvis, unconsciously was fighting Ultron, not even to the AI's own knowledge. He was fighting Ultron and pretty successfully preventing Ultron from getting access to nuclear codes. And I'm just like, why are nuclear codes on the web anyhow? But that's for another story. But that actually does play into what was set up Captain America the Winter Soldier, well, basically just a AI algorithm could go crazy and was in there, though it was following its directive as intended. But its directive was basically help Hydra, in short. Eliminate people who rebel, who won't accept their freedom from getting taken and all that. So, it's in a way Captain America the Winter Soldier does set up this idea of AI not always being used for good, and all that. So Avengers of Age of Ultron takes that story and really makes that story, is probably the best way of putting it. And the Avengers stop Ultron, of course. Of course, Sokovia is basically destroyed during all this, but they work with what they can to save as many civilians. The old SHIELD helicarrier pops up, the one with the turbines instead of what the Insight helicarriers have, so wind turbines for lack of a better term. And they help evacuate the civilians who couldn't get away because they were up in the air. And yeah, so we actually get to probably see what SHIELD really should be, helping people in disasters, not stopping and all that. That's what SHIELD's supposed to be, truly helping others. And in a way, this is also an answer to Captain America the Winter Soldier. So Captain America the Winter Soldier told people what SHIELD is. This film tells people what SHIELD should have been, which I think is kind of nice, a nice thing to do. I forgot to tell you, Avengers Age of Ultron was written and directed by Joss Whedon and produced by Kevin Feige, and was released on May 1st in 2015. Can't believe I totally forgot to say that at the beginning of the review, but I'm throwing it in here now. And actually, I think that's a good place to end the review. The Avengers expanded by 2 members, but there's also a reshuffling of the Avengers, a new facilities built for them, and we actually get to see some of that in future films and all that. Falcon and War Machine also pop up. War Machine does show up during the fight against Ultron as well. How to protect the SHIELD helicarrier. The Wiccan and Falcon have been there. True area support would have been better. I'm just saying. But that's a minor thing. So, thank you for watching my review. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to leave a like. And consider checking me out on social media, Facebook and Twitter. Links are in the description. as are the links for my Discord server, and if you want to support my channel, there is my Patreon page as well. If you have not subscribed to my channel already, please do so. I would really appreciate it. And feel free to check out either the video or the playlist on screen now. And as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. Have a good one. Bye!